A couple of while back, I reviewed the 997.2 911 GT3 RS. However, that car could be a little bit too extreme. It's not really a car for your daily drive nor for your weekend trips. It's mostly just a track weapon. However, what we have here today is something a bit more attainable, just a tad bit more. Here we have the 2006 Porsche 911 Carrera S. Today I'm going to show you around this car and I'm also going to give it a test drive, so stay tuned. Now let's start with the exterior of the 997.1. So this car is actually very similar to the 996. However, it's pretty much just like a facelift of the 996. And the most important facelift it received are these headlamps. So these headlamps, unlike the 996, they don't have that fried egg look to it. The 996 looks like someone cracked an egg on top of the fenders and then it melted over the sun, and then you get like sunny side up fried eggs. But finally, Porsche reverted to this more classic round 911 look. You also have your classic headlight washers right here in nice chrome as well. Now the front overall compared to the GT3 RS I reviewed, it's not as aggressive, but that is to be expected because this is a more vanilla version. And as we move on over here to the side, the shape of this car is just so classic 911, how it looks so balanced with just a slight bias to the front for your frunk. And now this one being a Carrera S model, you have upgraded brakes and also 19-inch rims versus the regular Carrera. Here at the back of the Carrera S, first thing you'll notice here is that you get the slats right here. You also have a ducktail spoiler, which you can raise with just a button inside the car. Aside from that, you get quad exhaust, which look really nice. Then as you open this one up, as in classic 911 fashion, the engine is at the back, so you don't have a trunk here. And under this, you have this 3.8 liter flat 6 engine, which produces 360 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. Now this is, since it's a flat 6, it is much lower to the ground, which lowers your center of gravity. And now this car has really great sounding exhaust, which you shall hear now. That sounds pretty good. Then you can also rev it a little. Classic Porsche sound. Since this is a 911 and you have the engine at the back, what you have in front instead is a frunk, a front trunk. Now as you open that up, it is to be expected that there's absolutely nothing in here. The only thing you have here is, number one, you have a CD changer, which is very early 2000s indeed, or mid 2000s. Then over there, that's where you put your windshield washer fluid. Then under this is your battery. Now aside from that, just down here you have a really small frunk. You can't really carry a set of golf clubs in here, so if you're the type to golf and you want a fast car, I think it's better you choose something like a C63, an E63, or maybe like an E55. No way you're gonna fit in this car. Here inside the 911, first let's check the thud of the door. It's a very solid sounding thud. Now let's start the car up. So do note that the ignition is not on the right side. It's not where it usually is. It's on the left side, just like with most Porsches. And you have to step on the brake to start it for some reason. Price right up like that. Listen to that magnificent exhaust. Now let's turn on the AC. Alright, so in here, the materials, they're not bad, especially for a sports car. So up top on your dash, it's all soft touch leather. Here on the side as well. And generally, every single place that you're gonna rest your hand or arm on, that is covered in some sort of leather. Although there are still some places with some cheaper plastics, like this one right here, which doubles as I don't know what you can put in there, probably like a cigarette or two, and you get a 12-volt outlet in there. Now first I'll show you the other cubby. So here you have really nice designed cup holders. Look just how they shoot out like that. It's really good design from Porsche. Now to close it, it's a bit tedious, it's a bit far, but you can do it. Now open this one up, you get a glove box with places to put CDs. I'm not sure if this is a CD changer, if it's part of it, but you can just store your CDs in there. Now here, okay, so your steering wheel, this is a special steering wheel. Usually for most of these Carrera SS, you have like a full leather steering wheel, but for this one, the owner spec'd it out to have these like things that are, well, I think they're supposed to be like carbon fiber, but I don't know, they feel a bit on a plastic side. Yeah. Now what's weird about the steering wheel is that for these 997.1s, you don't get paddle shifters because it's not a PDK either. You have this Tiptronic system, which is really odd to use. I mean, you can change gears, but why would they put it here? I just don't understand what Porsche was thinking with this, but all right, it was an early design. Okay, I guess we can forgive them. Your gauges, they're your typical 911 gauges. So you have your RPM dead center, which is really good. and your speedometer goes up to 330 kilometers per hour. But do note that this car only goes to around 300 kilometers per hour, or actually with the automatic, report said that only until 296. With the manual they can go a bit faster than that. Now here in the middle you have this infotainment screen, which unfortunately is the main problem with these 997.1. So just look how bad that is. I mean, it looks like a screen protector, right? But no, you can't just peel that off and call it a day. So, but behind that you have a nice sounding Bose sound system. You love the sound of this car. Now turn that off. Now to the left of that you have really complicated dials for your like built-in phone to connect with your Bluetooth, but I don't know, it just looks a little bit too dated for me now that you have all of these. Okay, now below that, your AC system, it's very simple. So you just have a single zone climate control, you have your fan speed control. Then again, below that you can turn off your traction control. You can also press this button to stiffen the suspension, so this has that adaptive suspension dampening thing. And to the left of that you also have a button to raise your duck lid spoiler. Really nice. Now your shifter, this is an automatic after all. It's just your regular shifter, and you can put it in M mode, which is like the manual mode. Then you shift via your Tiptronic system. And then the most important thing in these Porsches, a conventional handbrake, because of course you want to do a lot of handbrake turns. Above you, you have a nice Alcantara-like headliner. You also have a sunroof which you can open, and it's quite small, but I mean the car is pretty small, so that's understandable. It takes a while. It's a really slow sunroof. Now finally, the seats. The seats on this one, they're not as aggressive as the GT3 RS, of course, but there's still enough bolstering to hold you in place as you go on over corners, and these seats are definitely very much more comfortable. They don't hurt in any way, unlike the GT3 RS, which feels very metal-like on the sides. I like these seats. Also, your seat belts are also painted like red. They're dyed in red, which looks really nice. It has a nice accent to it to match the black. Nice contrast. One odd thing to note about these seats is that while they are power adjustable for the seat back, it's not power adjustable for the up and down. So you really have to like pump this down for it to go down. But once you're able to do that, it goes nice and low. So you have that perfect driving position. And lastly, you have this manual forward and backward lever. Quite odd. Now this car has a 2+2 layout for seating, but if you do try to and manage to get to the back of these seats, number one, headroom is severely limited, but at 5'6", you have just about enough headroom. But when you do pull this back, yes, you can kind of fit. I guess the most similar car to this would be the Audi TT 8J. We had one before and it's rather similar. So yes, you can get away with it, kind of. It's not going to be a pleasant experience at all, but in a squeeze, if you're 5'6" and below, this will kind of work. So driving the 2006 Porsche 911 997.1 Carrera S. So the first thing, as I said off when I start driving this car, is just how much different it is from the GT3 RS that I've driven. Now both of these are 997s, that one being a .2 facelift and this is the pre-facelift. But these two cars are just made completely different for completely different reasons at all. So this car is made to be like an upgrade to your regular Porsche Carrera. It's just a bit better, 29 horsepower more, and it's just really a street going car. The GT3 RS is just a track going weapon. That is really a track weapon. But this car, you know, in your daily drives, if you do want to daily drive this or drive this over the weekends, this is a very drivable car because it's just pretty comfortable. Now I wouldn't say it's as comfy as like sedans. It's not, it's definitely not. It is still a bit bumpy, but it's definitely livable. If there's one car that's on a more basic level that I can compare this car to when it comes to like the comfort of it, is pretty much just like the 8J Audi TT, which I've been driving for a while now, before rather. And they're rather similar. I mean, they are both Volkswagen groups, but really the comfort level, while not very comfortable, it's not uncomfortable either. Over these corners, this car handles extremely flat. I don't even know why you really need a GT3 RS, because this car is already flat enough for me. Perhaps there's like some diehard purists, some people who are used to track days, which definitely you will feel the difference. But for me, I'm not used to these sports cars. I'm usually a big sedan kind of guy. So honestly, I don't really feel the difference. But again, that's just my personal opinion. If you do want to accelerate this car, it goes really well. And that exhaust is really good. It redlines at around 7,000 RPM, although since this is not my car, I don't exactly want to like push it to its limits, but it's pretty fast. Now, I wouldn't just call this car at all like a rocket. It's not. Now, I've driven the E55 AMG, and maybe that is an older car, so there's a bit more noise involved, a lot more wind noise, which makes that car feel a lot faster. But this car is definitely no slouch at all. Now, let's try it up again. Okay, now we're gonna try this Tiptronic thing. And whoa, it really handles flat too if you have to correct the direction of the car as you're going fast. Wow, that is way over 100 real quick. This car is really fun to drive. I'm just gonna push it over this corner fast, and yeah, it's really flat. I just don't see the need for you to get anything more than this. If you want to overtake in these tight roads, you can easily just do that. Oh, it pulls really hard too. Now, there's not much low down torque. I don't really feel the low down torque that much. However, once you get past like the first and the second gear, once horsepower is kicking in more than torque, that's where this car shines. It just keeps on going and going. It's as if it doesn't run out of like its rev band. Now, the 997.2s, they had the PDK, while this one has the Tiptronic system. And while the Tiptronic system isn't exactly the best, I wouldn't call it a bad system either, because the shifts in this car, it's really crisp. Of course, it's not as fast as PDK, but still, it's much better than driving a manual. And if you do want to daily this car, given that transmission, in Manila, this is definitely the transmission choice you want to get. It's just undrivable. Manuals are just undrivable in Manila roads. The steering feel in this car, it's also very precise and very direct. While it does have power steering, it feels like it's just minimally assisted. So every single thing that the front tires are doing, you know exactly where they are. You know exactly where they're pointed at. And if you're going at speed, this car is a bit loud, so you can't expect this car to be something like a Grand Tourer that's going to keep you sane for a very long time. There's definitely a lot of wind noise, a lot of that engine roar. Even if you're going low speeds, you can really hear the outside world very, very much so. So that's just something to look out for with this car. Now, if you want to turn this car over like U-turns, it's so short, it's so easy to do. Parking this car definitely is a bit on the easy side as well, although seeing out the back is a bit hard because of the way that the rear windshield is sloped. But aside from that, really your daily driving needs for this car, your weekend driving needs for this car is definitely doable. Right now, you can get a car like this 2006 model for around 5 million pesos. In fact, this particular car right here is for sale. So I'll put the owner's details in the description down below. And if you're looking for something like this and you have the money for it, I really do suggest that you go ahead and buy it. You don't need any of those turbo models. You don't need the GT3 RS. This is a much better car to daily drive. If you like this video, please don't forget to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more car reviews.